Hello, I'm Sarah Simi, and this is PullOut. Today I've got OK Magazine. This one is for the 23rd of April 1977, and it's 12p, gone up slightly. I'm extremely disappointed that I didn't get the Pears soap. No, Pears shampoo, I'm sorry. Pears shampoo that was promised to me. It says it's inside, it's not. So I can't try 50-year-old shampoo, which I'm really upset about. But anyway, didn't get that. Also inside is special Getting Engaged, what it's all about. Fashion Show a Leg, we're back to skirts. And exclusive Kiki Dee, I was always the ugly duckling. So that's what we can expect inside. Cracking straight in. This is an interview with a band called Sailor. There's a picture of them dressed, obviously, as a sailor, as you do. Yeah, this is all a worry. It gets worse. That's all I can say. Anyway, let's crack on. I was really looking forward to my interview with Henry and George of Sailor. It was in an elegant restaurant in the West End, and judging by their obsession with drink in their songs, I thought they'd be well and truly legless by the time the pudding arrived. But I couldn't have been more wrong, because the only drinks on the table were mineral water and orange juice. Henry doesn't drink at all, George explained to me, and I only like champagne. Well, who doesn't? I used to drink a lot, but I found it really disagrees with my stomach. Sexy talk. On their latest single, One Drink Too Many, isn't really a personal true life confession. No, George carried on, though everyone thinks we're drunkards. We're not. Drunkards and legless, these are the terms in the 70s. I just wrote the song because it's a really funny situation about a guy. About a guy not being able to get his leg over because he's too legless. There is a moral there too, but I don't preach it. Sailor's obsession is with girls. I find girls truly fascinating, George admitted. Psychologically, I feel they're much stronger than men. And often physically, too, with all the things they have to go through, like childbirth. Their endurance is staggering. Just when you thought he was saying something nice. But at the same time, they love to pretend that they're the weaker sex, and I love to go along with that too. I like being polite, courteous, and gentlemanly to girls. I love to open doors for them and help them on with their coats, that kind of thing. Saucy again. Sitting in the restaurant, I wondered if George was the kind of person who'd send over a bottle of champagne to the table of a lady he fancied. Oh, yes, I've done that quite a few times, but not as often as I would have liked, because I'm too shy. I wait for the next bit. Not surprisingly, though, George thinks that women's lib is very good in some areas, like getting equal pay and jobs. Thanks ever so much, George. Glad you think we deserve equal pay. But he thinks that it's extremely bad when it tries to get rid of the essential differences between fellas and girls. I think it would be a horrid world if men had to think of women not as women but as people, George remarked. I think that the advocates of women's lib are totally wrong when they see things like opening the door for a woman as being something totally degrading. It's just a charming show of courtship. The trouble with women's lib. Oh, no. Is that they... Oh, dear God, have I really got to read this out? The trouble with women's lib is that there are quite a lot of ugly women in it with a chip on their shoulder against men. George carried on, tucking into his snails. Oh, that's a bit left field. Women are very, very different. One of the things I'm most fascinated by is how they pretend they're in how they're really in control, but often pretend it's the men who are just to boost a guy's ego. I think a lot of that is because they want to feel protected and looked after, even though they know that they're the ones who are doing all the looking after. Watching Henry and George gulping down the mineral water by the gallon and tucking into their non-meat dishes snails. I don't know. A snail's not me. Anyway, I don't know. I don't care anymore. I couldn't help reflecting what a healthy group they were. I try to play tennis at least once a week, said Henry. I used to go on early morning runs on the assumption that it would keep me fit, but I found it totally enjoyable. That's why I like tennis, because it's fun. But it's not just me who's fit, the others are too. Don't get the wrong impression of me. Doing chest expanding exercises all day. Or that during lunch breaks, the others find a restaurant and I go off to look for a gymnasium. I think I've had enough of Sailor now. By the way, Sailor, in case you didn't know, used to have a little anchor sign on his face. And later in the article, he says that he was horrified because two girls who came up to me and showed me how they'd had the little anchor like mine tattooed onto their faces. The trouble was that mine is only painted on with an eyeline pencil. I've stopped doing it now. Well, I can't say I particularly took to Henry and George. Moving on. This is just a quick ad, which I loved. This is this is new cream silk conditioner for conditioner you really notice. And there's a girl lying on the floor with her legs up in the air. And the headline reads, what gets a girl noticed? Her shoes make her legs look longer, and that's nice. Her jeans, nice and tight, so they might. That doesn't make sense. Her top, maybe, she looks good in red. Or the hair. That's the crunch, because your hair is the one thing that's exclusive to you. What? Surely all of you is exclusive. Oh, I don't. If it's out of condition, it's out of condition. You can't hide it, but now you can do something about it. That's why this girl uses one of the new thicker cream silk conditioners after every shampoo. So, and the bottles are fab, and in the most fantastic 70s colours of kind of brown, peach and cream. Anyway, felt very reminiscent looking at that. Okay, I've moved on to, in OK Magazine, Fancy That, the occasional series which features a man saying what he likes about girls and things. Now, this one is Adam Mosley. Adam is a law student living it up in London who never seems short of girls. So we asked him what kind of girls he likes. I like the easy ones. Ha ha ha, he joked. No, I'll be serious. I like girls who are affectionate and lively and take the initiative. But I don't like girls who take things you do for them for granted, like taking them out for dinner and they think it's part of the service. And there's nothing worse than taking a girl out and find out you're being two-timed. If anyone two-times me, I'll get rid of them politely and quietly. I very rarely argue with my girlfriend. Maybe that's because she's in Sweden. But he was joking again. Go on. Not actually. We don't argue a lot. I'm not that type, but I am possessive. And I don't think that's a good thing because it makes your relationship too heavy. And you, oh dear God, and you miss out on all the other crumpet around. He's not talking about bread products, just so we're clear. Well, we thought he'd been serious for a bit too long. I'm not very affectionate, even though I'm possessive. He's really selling himself, isn't he? If I'm in public with someone, I'm usually rather cool and reserved, but I don't like girls to be like that. You see, I've quite a good social circle, and I like it if the girl I'm taking out fits in with them too. I need to be with the crowd, and if I had to stand and talk to my girlfriend all the time, I'd find it very tiring, and I'd probably finish the relationship. I feel that you've got to trust your girlfriend to make a relationship really work. And what if the relationship does work? What's his view on marriage? I'm all for it, but not too early. I don't think a guy should marry until he's about 27. It's very specific, because these days marriage needs to be worked on. We agree, Adam. There was a, a brief article. It's a fairly dull article, but there is an article all about Rod Stewart and the women in his life, which isn't exactly a news story. But it was just the pouting picture of Rod Stewart in the magazine. He's doing his very best pout in a bed with what looks like kind of Laura Ashley wallpaper and bed linen. Anyway, slightly confusing, but yeah, there's Rod Stewart pouting. The aforementioned Pears shampoo, which I didn't get, has a whole page where my shampoo would have been if I'd have got it. It's titled "Get Yourself Well Oiled," and it's all about using the shampoo. Greasy hair usually starts to become a problem during early teens when the body is going through hormonal changes, and sometimes the sebaceous glands become overacting, causing hair to become lank and look unattractive. Fact is, like spots, it's a stage you'll eventually grow out. Or, oh, this is a bit depressing. Anyway, it is all about looking after your hair by using the Pears shampoo generally. Oh, and also you can use olive oil if you can't afford conditioner. There we are. Anyway, I didn't get the shampoo, so there we are. We'll never know. Now, there's there's a section. Can I say this is extremely difficult to read? They've put red lettering on blue on a blue background. I'm really, really struggling to read it. Anyway, this is like a little clip off. There's a dotted line, so you cut along this line. I don't know why I have to keep this bit separately, but I do. It's a shape up for summer, so no doubt there will be a lot of dieting tips. If you've been following our, I told you, OK Slimbix diet and exercise routine, you should be well on the way to a super slim new you. However, unless you've been, this is so difficult to read, red writing on a blue background, unless you've been on a drastic crash diet, slimming does take quite a long time. So here's some handy fashion do's and don'ts to make you look slimmer as the pounds slip away. Even if you're not dieting, but wouldn't mind looking a bit more slim, our hints will work for you, so read on. So what to wear if you're a bit fat? Hey, fatso. Okay, fashion don'ts. This is going to be fun, isn't it? Fashion don'ts. Don't wear bold horizontal stripes, particularly not if the fabric is especially clingy. Avoid cap sleeve tops, as they make shoulders look broader and tops of arms fatter. Don't wear anything that has the effect of cutting you in half at the waist, such as a dress with a drawstring or an elasticated belt, as this will emphasize your large hips and bust. All right. If you are typically an English pear shape, i.e. wide hips and big bottom, avoid tight-fitting jeans or stripy trousers. Okay, so the mini is supposedly on its way back, and we've predicted that shorts are back for summer. Well, didn't take much of a prediction, but shorts back for summer. But please don't wear either of them unless you've got slim legs. So please, bra straps that show when you wear a skimpy halter neck t-shirt look unsightly. So if your bust can't support itself without a bra, don't wear skimpy tops at all. No, that's right. Wear some kind of full cover-up. 7, flat sandals aren't flattering, even on the slimmest of legs, so don't wear them. This is very firm advice. Clingy t-shirt dresses will only emphasise bulges and make you look fatter than you actually are, so don't be tempted to wear them until you've gone on the diet. Ever walk behind a girl with a big bottom? wearing an ultra tight skirt with a slit up the back. Looks terrible, doesn't it? Don't wear them. Don't wear fluorescent colours or big bold patterns unless you want to draw attention to your size. Now we're on the fashion do's as opposed to the fashion don'ts. Do wear narrow vertical stripes. They will make you look slim. Wear straight leg trousers. They look best with longer length tops, unless you've got really slim hips. Elbow length sleeves or baggy short sleeves make arms look slimmer. Jumpsuits and dungarees have the effect of streamlining your figure, so long as they're not too tight, especially around your bum. Big hips look neater in A-line skirts that gently flare from the waist, so don't force yourself into pencil skirts. Dark tights and ankle strap shoes. High-heeled sandals or wedges make ankles and calves look slimmer and more shapely. If your legs are okay, apart from flabby thighs, you can wear the latest longer length baggy shorts, which they predicted earlier. Go for a square or sweetheart neckline rather than low rounded or deep V ones if you've got a big bust, so as not to expose too much cleavage. A neat swimming costume can do wonders for a fat tummy. Jeez. There are some really nice ones in the shops this year, so don't worry about being old-fashioned because they're far more stylish than bikinis. Invest in a casual shirt-style dress that you can adapt to wear either on its own or with straight jeans. This style looks okay for any time of the year and will cover up bulges without looking like a smock. Yeah, loving it. On the reverse of the bit that I had to clip out, it's shape up for summer. If you're slimming down and buying new clothes to fit your new shape, have you ever thought that your face is changing shape? Maybe it's time you changed your makeup and hairstyle too. Again, it's fairly brutal advice. A chubby round face will look longer and slimmer with shoulder length straight hair, avoiding any width at the ear level or height at the top. Not that any of you are likely to backcomb your hair, we hope. A square face with a heavy jawline should be softened with a soft curly style with side parting and soft side swept fringe. A light perm will give the right amount of curl to naturally straight hair. Avoid styles where the hair is severely drawn back off your face or a very frizzy perm. Yeah. Then there's some advice on blending for cheeks. Blush a triangle of colour from cheekbone to chin level. Make the colour very soft and blend it in well. That's to tone down your chubby cheeks and round chin. So there we are. That's all the things that you can do if the diet, which they suggest, which is a meal in a glass substitute, perhaps didn't quite pay off in the way you were expecting. Dear. I've tried. This is on to. I honestly can't believe the first title that we come to. Oh, God. This is What's Going On. It's by Rick Sky. This is the gossipy section about singers and celebrities. Yeah. I apologise in advance for the title of this bit. Brian's Bitches. Oh, yeah. Really does say that. There's always been one scene that Bryan Ferry's loved to revel in, and that's the fashion one. I've always been close to those kinds of people, Bryan revealed. It's an interesting and exciting scene, and a lot of the people in it are very attractive, and I love attractive people. The only trouble is that they can be the world's greatest bitches and really tear you off behind your back. Still, that's what makes it all so exciting, all that love and hate. Yes, Bryan, I'm glad we don't have that sort of thing going on here in the OK offices. As if you would title something Brian's Bitches. Oh, my word. This next one is Daddle Fix It. Don't worry, it doesn't need a trigger warning. Jimmy Savile. Daddle Fix It. If you ever... As you do. If you ever get the chance to ask Chris Norman from Smokie to come over and put a few shelves up for you, don't bother. Why? Why, if you needed some shelves putting up, why would your mind immediately go to Chris Norman from Smokie? I don't know. Anyway, don't ask him, because as likely as not, his dad will come instead. I'm just useless at any kind of handy things. Chris confessed to me, I can just about hang a nail in, but that's all. When it comes to anything complicated, like changing a fuse or hanging wallpaper or putting up shelves, I'm a total failure. I shall have to marry a handy woman, that's all. But at the moment, my dad has to help out. I don't know what I'd do without my dad. Every time I move to a new house, he comes with me and spends weeks getting everything fixed up. Oh dear. So next one is called taxi evasion. The next time you jump in a taxi, watch out, because that might just be your first step to stardom. That's exactly what happened to Manhattan Transfer. Tim had a job as a cabbie, Alan Paul recalled. That's how he first met Lauren and myself. Lauren was a cocktail waitress working on the late shift. Working as a cocktail waitress, yes. Working as a waitress in a cocktail bar, was working on her late shifts, and Tim gave her a ride in the early hours of the morning when she was making her way home exhausted. Then a few weeks later, by pure coincidence, I got into his cab too, as I was too tired to carry my heavy drum kit down the street anymore. After those 2 taxi trips, we got to talking about music and the group was formed. The only member of the group who didn't hire Tim's cab was Janice. Maybe she was too broke at the time. Whatever the reason, we're really glad that they all met up together in the end because they're such a success. That was a bit of a non-story, wasn't it? Lastly, I was attracted to this title, I won't lie, but it's a bit weird. The title is What Developed in Jeans Trousers? The Stranglers may be a punk group. Oh, I think this is the first mention we have ever had of punk. We've got to 1977 and it's the first mention. The Stranglers may be a punk group, but there's one thing that Jean won't wear on stage, and that's plastic trousers. Quite right. I'm a leather lover, Jean told me. I always have been. And contrary to what most people might think, leather's not at all hot and sticky on stage, but quite cool. I wore plastic trousers a few times, but stopped wearing them because I found out that I just got too hot and bothered in them. Not only that, but I discovered that because... Oh, this has made me feel really quite sick. Not only that, but I also discovered that because of all that heat, my pair were developing some kind of green fungus in them. I wouldn't mind having green fingers, but not green anything else, thank you very much. Well, that's put me off ever wearing plastic. Me too. Oh, I must admit, I wasn't expecting that to go the way it did with what's developed in jeans trousers, but lovely. Okay, on to the problem page. These are all answered by Jill today. Trouble at home or with your man? Well, she's there to help you. The first one. Dear Jill, I have a problem with attracting my boyfriend's attention. We see each other at the disco each week. Please give me some advice. Jill says, I think what you mean, rather than my boyfriend, in inverted commas, is the boy I wish was my boyfriend. She's being a bit sarky, isn't she, Jill? Aye. You needed to point that out. I know it's terrible trying to pluck up the courage to talk to someone, but you're not going to get very far unless you do. Next time you're with him, try and get chatting. Ask him something about himself and stop worrying about what to talk about. Just remember that he's probably just as nervous, and then it makes the wobbly legs and the shaking hands a bit steadier. All right, Jill. No need for the sarcasm. This one, he's spreading rumours. Dear Jill, I have a rather bad reputation around our small town as being easy to get. My ex-boyfriend, who I was going out with for 6 months, recently dropped me for someone else. We had been sleeping together. And when he left me, he told me that that was all he wanted from me. Oh dear. Now I'm sure he has told his friends about our relationship because now the fellas are all asking me for dates. Sorry, that wasn't supposed to be funny. I'm very upset because I really want another boyfriend, but I just don't want one who only wants to use me. What does Jill say? You have to prove yourself now to really get over this difficult and hurtful time. You know your ex-boyfriend has been telling tales, so what you need to do is to show show you control yourself, not that others control you. Accept the dates if you want, enjoy yourself, and say no when you think it is getting beyond a friendly or loving date to a state where you are being manipulated or used, i.e., sex, where it is plainly obvious that is the only reason you are being dated. You'll only have to accept one date and refuse if asked to go further, and the rumours and gossip will stop. Try not to let this get you down. God, it's an awful lot of effort to show that you don't shag around. So what if you did? But not in the 70s. This is a weird, rather than an escalating problem, this de-escalates very quickly. Bad breath problem. Dear Jill, a few weeks ago I read the article, I Wish I Was Dead in OK, and that is just the way I feel. But the trouble is I can't get over it. I feel like this because I find it impossible to talk to people as I have bad breath. It's like we started so bad and then we came up. Jill says, bad breath isn't an insoluble problem, you know. There is plenty to do that you can do to get rid of it. Number one is to make sure you are getting a properly balanced diet with plenty of fresh fruit and green vegetables. That way you tackle the problem from the inside. Secondly, with the bad breath hang up, you could try cleaning your teeth more than the normal twice a day. Give them a brush at lunchtime. As well, with mint flavoured toothpaste. This is classic. If you smoke, that can leave its trace on your breath too. For a freshen up, use one of the products you can get from the chemist, which you can either spray into your mouth or take in tablet form. It doesn't suggest stopping smoking, which is nice. When you've been doing that for a week or two, you'll be more than likely to be able to smile and talk to people with no worries whatsoever. But if you really do think you've got a problem, go and see your dentist, because there could be the general health of your teeth that is causing the trouble. So that's it. Oh dear. This one is, am I frigid? Dear Jill, about a year ago I was having sexual intercourse with my boyfriend when I panicked. So he stopped and calmed me down. We agreed to try again, but this time it was even worse and I slapped his face. Dear. He was very hurt, but I felt I just couldn't go through with it, even though I didn't have any physical discomfort. We split up over this and I still love him. A few months ago, I was going out with another fella, but if he tried to go any further than kissing me, I panicked, and now I'm worried, sick, in case I'm frigid. It reminds me of that scene in Friends with Jerry and Rachel slaps Jerry. Anyway, first of all, stop worrying. You're not frigid. There's a lot of difference between doing something on your own accord and being gently persuaded to do something which deep down you are against. I think that might be the case with you. You probably panicked because in both cases you didn't really want to go through with it. And there's certainly nothing wrong with that. Only you can decide whether you're ready to sleep with your boyfriend. And if there's ever any doubt, then don't. Try to get your problems into perspective. Relax. Be yourself and have a good time, but take things at your own pace. I'm sure you'll find that you'll know when is the right time without having to be persuaded or being forced to panic. It's that one. Dear. The last one on here is called plastic surgery. Dear Jill, since I can remember, I've always wanted to be a model or something to do with fashion. But over the past few years, my nose has grown, and just recently it has developed a large bump in the middle of it. Would it be possible to have this changed by plastic surgery? And when does a nose actually stop growing? This is what Jill says. You can have your nose reset, and your own doctor will be able to help you in finding a specialist and sorting all that bit out. As far as cost goes, this depends on whether or not your doctor considers the operation is medically necessary. To answer your other question, your nose generally stops growing when the rest of you does. If the bump, I'm taking it very seriously, Jim. If the bump isn't too noticeable, you can get special makeup to cover all sorts of lumps or funny coloured patches of skin. Many well-known cosmetic companies make a green-coloured cream, which you can use just a little of under powder to tone down this sort of thing. But she's not really talking about discoloration. She's talking about bump. I don't see how green powder is going to work. Although the bump on your nose may seem very noticeable to you, it probably isn't to a lot of people. I think Jill's passing the buck there somewhat. Anyway, well, we've come to the end. The back cover advert is for Harmony Conditioning Colour. She's got quite a nice 70s kind of Joanna Lumley type bob going on situation. It says, Monday, wish he'd noticed me. He looked so nice. Tuesday, washed hair with Harmony. Colour just a shade brighter and super conditioned. Please make it work. Wednesday, it works. Noticed me is putting it mildly. Well, hey. There's a man who obviously she got by using Harmony Conditioning Colour. He's whispering in her ear and has obviously bought her a lovely bunch of flowers. So it all worked out well for Harmony hair colour. Good. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly did. That was OK Magazine, 23rd of April, 1977, and I got no shampoo. Thank you. See you next time.